This is Reese, or Next Gen Novelist, and today I wanted to make a video in a little bit of a different format than what you might usually be used to, which is making this more kind of podcast format. This is actually how I began, to an extent, making videos on YouTube. Well, the very first videos I ever made on YouTube had no talking in them at all, but once I actually begun trying to inject personality into my videos, this was the form of how I'd done it, gaming commentaries. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to talk about my writing resolutions for 2017. And, you know, when we look at the word resolutions and New Year's resolutions and all that, there's a lot of adverseness towards it I've seen quite recently. And, you know, a lot of the reason why that is because a lot of people who obviously are never going to actually fulfill those resolutions talk about resolutions. The people who are the loudest about their resolutions normally are the ones who do the least to achieve them. So I can understand certainly why there's such a big pushback against resolutions. People are like, forget resolutions, you know, just do the things. I get it, but in a weird way, I tried to think of a way to make the video without it basically just being resolutions. I mean, there is no other way for me to make a video like this. It basically is resolution. So I don't really care. I'm going to call it what it is. You know, even if you try to say writing goals, you know, writing aims, it's still what I hope to achieve in 2017. It's all resolutions. Just by cutting the word doesn't change the meaning or the purpose of what you're doing. So instead of being a hipster about it, we're going to call it writing resolutions for 2017. That is what it is. And they're simply just some different little goals that I've set for myself. And yeah, you know, in 2016, I didn't actually get much writing done. I didn't actually achieve a lot of the things with writing specifically that I wanted to achieve. That being said, I did instead have a lot of time because I was out of uni for most of the year up until October. I did have all of that time to spend a lot of time thinking about writing and books and the book community, I suppose you could say, and the writing community and how it kind of works and where I fit into it and all these different kinds of things. And it was great. In retrospect, it was a good thing to have that. At the start of the year, if I'd made a video like this, I would never have said that was one of my goals, but it was a good thing that I did have it, because I have so much more clarity on things to do with writing and reading, and I'm way more confident about trying to be an author than I used to be. You know, I've looked at things like contracts and percentages and stuff, and I know exactly, for the most part, I maybe not exactly, maybe that's still too bold, but I'm way more informed and a lot more confident about where I'm getting myself what I'm getting myself into. And of course you still have to consistently look at these things, but yeah, I haven't been off put by it as some people are quite disheartened sometimes by the reality of publishing, and I'm not. In fact, it kind of invigorates me, and I'm looking forward to some of the challenges that are going to come along with it. So on to the resolutions, which it took a while to get to. Firstly, finishing the edits on my book and getting it into beta before sending off to agents. So my book is currently in the second draft. I've been editing it. It's been in the second draft since 2015. And like I said, I didn't get as much work on writing as I wanted to last year. So unfortunately, or it's this year still currently, but unfortunately, that didn't go the way I wanted. But like I say, there was other benefits to it. But this year, definitely, next year, 2017, I want to make sure that that stuff gets handled and that I do finish those edits and that I do get my book into beta and I send it off to agents. There's a funny little story though about that, which kind of makes me thankful I didn't send my book off to agents too early last year. But I'm not going to get into that right now. And yeah, and then once I've done that, finished those edits and stuff, I'll then be getting the book. I'll be working on the sequel to the book. So then I'll be working on the next one. And I know a lot of writers are like, you know, you should write a new project. No, no, because I want to make sure I get the first 3 books of this done. the way that my series works is quite peculiar, but let's just say I want the trilogy that I'm doing at the moment to be finished, because there's a certain overarching plot. If you ever read trilogies, you know this, and I want it to be as tight as possible. And I want all the twists to be in the right places and stuff. So outlines are great and everything, but having 3 actual drafts of each installment is going to always help me have some clarity on what the series is. Sorry. And whilst doing that, I'll be trying to release more content on here and on my blog. And I plan on making my blog an actual website instead of just, you know, this WordPress page, which you kind of just look at and it's like, okay. I'm going to try to make it, you know, get a proper domain name, stuff like that. Try and make it a little bit more websitey, I suppose. Make it feel a little bit more like an actual website rather than just a blog page. Try and work on my brand, I suppose, a bit more. It's a funny word for writers, I suppose, to be using words like that, like brand. But this is something which, taken this year out, made me realize these things are the reality of being a writer in the modern day. You know, it's not just about sitting there anymore and letting the royalties flow in. I mean, you can, but you know, being prolific and being out there is definitely way more appreciated. So. And I have the character for it, and I enjoy talking, and I enjoy talking to people, and I enjoy talking about writing, so there's no excuse really for me not to be doing it. So yeah, that's definitely one thing as well. I also plan on making more of an effort to attend conventions and writing events in the UK, this is a bit of an odd one, because in the UK, I personally found that, you know, I don't feel like the conventions and stuff we have here is too, like, it's not, you know, as flashy. There's not as much big conventions in the same way as there is in the US. A lot of things to do with writing in general in the UK is just a little lesser than the US, especially when it comes to speculative fiction, which is what I'm writing. And there is stuff, oddly enough, the university I attend, Middlesex University, oddly enough, that university literally holds a writing festival called the North London Literary Festival. I went to it last year before I was actually a student there, and I knew I was going to the uni, so that was a bit funny, because it gave me a bit of a chance to actually look at the university whilst at the same time actually going there for a reason. So now that I am a student there, you know, that's interesting. I don't know what they're going to be doing with it this year, but hopefully it's going to be something interesting. Last year it was science fiction and fantasy, which was perfect for me. Unfortunately, I've got a feeling it won't be like that again this year, because it seems like they're going to change the theme each year. So who knows what it's going to be. But anyway, that's something I definitely want to do, though. You know, if that means traveling outside of London, which is something I've always been a little bit like about, then that's what it means, you know, having to go places like Birmingham or something, wherever, I don't know, wherever the hell the appropriate conventions are at. I'll be doing my best to try and go to them. So hopefully then, if that's the case, you'll see more videos of conventions and stuff this year. And yeah. And then finally at the end of the year, I'll be reviewing all these things I've just said, and seeing how I actually did with all of it. And hopefully, you know, I get some good results and I do a lot of the things that I say I'm going to do. This video, to be honest, is more for me than it is for anybody else, because my resolutions at this current point don't really mean a whole lot to anybody besides myself. But I'm partially posting this to make myself more accountable. You know, and like I said earlier, a lot of people make resolutions and don't stick to them. I'm quite confident I will, because I already have a lot of the habits anyway. So there's not really much reason for me not to do it. The burn of looking that an entire year kind of didn't result in much editing or writing has made me realize, you know, well, I don't want another year of that. So that's going to give me a kick up the arse to just get stuff done. This video has gone on a whole lot longer than I would have expected. If you've made it all the way to the end, well, thank you. That's the end of my writing resolutions for 2017. I don't really have much else to say. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. And I'm out. Peace.